What's up, guys? So in this video, I want to talk about my previous videos that I've been making. I made a lot of videos ranking, booster box sets, and I just made a video the other day ranking the products that you should be investing in. And I said booster boxes were king, PCTBs were up there as well, booster bundles, and regular ETBs. Those were kind of the four main things. And I've had a lot of people in that video and also in other videos recently say that they're a huge fan of three-pack blisters. They want to push back on three-pack blisters, which I think is, whatever. It's fine. I'm not mad at people for this. Also had people push back on collector's chests as well. Some people bought them. And in this video, no hate towards anyone, but I just want to explain the thought process, right, when you go into investing, because a lot of people make this mistake, especially when it comes to Pokemon investing. They're just starting out. They don't understand what goes into selling and liquidating Pokemon product and just a collectible in general, right? Once you've been in this hobby for a while, it makes sense to you why the whales only buy booster boxes. They only buy specialty set regular ETBs. They buy the PC ETBs and maybe booster bundles and a couple of their products. Like they don't want to buy chests. They don't want to buy three-pack blisters all the time. And we're going to get into that in this video. So if you look at like the 1 year charts, and you can go do this, just pick a set at random, go do it, right? But the booster boxes are almost always going to do better than three-pack blisters. So Evolving Skies over the past year, you're up 124.5%. The three-pack blister with the Umbreon promo, which is the better promo, the Ice Q is the other one. So I did pick the best promo I could for the Evolving Skies to, prove the point even, further. Only 113.14% gain. So when you look at it at face value, you're already making more money with the booster box, and that's not even getting into, storage and selling and liquidity and all that, right? But say you did want to bring up an example like Unbroken Bonds. A year ago, you could have bought a booster box at say $600. For math's sake, $600, $598, whatever, $600. TCG Player has it at $723, but if you really look at it, this is an $800 box at this point, getting very close to it. Conservatively, just say $750, right, for this example. So if you bought it $600 a year ago, it's now a $750 box. That's a $150 gain. That's 25%. So not bad. Like 25% growth year over year on a booster box is great, But we want to compare it to the three-pack blisters. So we took the Typhlosion promo, which is the better of the two promos in terms of price. But $150 gain on the booster box. When you look at the three-pack blisters, a year ago, you could have bought them for $46.63, just say $45, right? So, when you divide 600 by 45, I believe it's about 13 if we do the math. 600 divided by 45, 13.33. So just say 13 for math's sake. Make this very simple, a couple dollars more. It makes sense, right? So you could have bought 13 three-pack blisters for the price of one booster box. Now, when you look at storage, which one is going to take up more space? Three-pack blisters. When you look at what is going to be more difficult to ship, three-pack blisters. When you look at what is going to be more difficult to sell, three-pack blisters. So on the sales front, storage front, liquidity front, three-pack blisters aren't optimal. Now, you will make more, all right? So say you sold them all for $65, okay? That's a $20 gain on each one. 20 times 13 is $260. 260 minus the 150 that we'd make on the booster box is $110 extra that you would have made investing in Unbroken Bonds three-pack blisters. Now, do you really make $110 more though? Not really, right? So if you're local, if you have a way to, get rid of these locally, sure. But I'd say for the vast majority of people, you're going to have to put these on eBay. You're going to have to ship them. How much is it going to cost for you to ship a booster box? In the States, say like $10, right? And that might be conservative. That might be too aggressive. But say $10 in that range, okay? You're going to spend $10 to ship an Unbroken Bonds booster box. Maybe a three-pack blister with tracking is going to be what, $5, $6, something like that. definitely, it's awkward to ship too. Like finding a proper box, shipping it properly, like ignoring all of that, just say $5, right? 5 times 1365, you only spend $10 shipping a booster box. That's $55 more that you would be spending on shipping just to get rid of all 13 of the Unbroken Bonds 3-pack blisters. Now you might sell more than one to one person and bring that cost down a bit, but that is unlikely, right? Like most people, if they're buying these, they're really probably just buying one for their collection, or that's all they can afford. So that $110 you originally had that you would have made more of is probably down to about $55 at this point once you factor in shipping costs. And again, you're going to be paying the same percentage in fees on both of them, so that's not a big deal, right? So maybe you're making $50 more. Now, is it worth it for you to spend multiple months to offload 13 of a product that's very illiquid? It's going to be, a lot of effort on your end if you want to sell locally on marketplace, stuff like that. You're going to be responding to lots of questions, people lowballing you that want a deal on a product. Again, this isn't something that people really want, right? Like 3-pack blisters don't sell as much, less liquid of a product. So if you do want to sell it locally and avoid that shipping cost, you're probably going to be spending more in terms of opportunity costs, just having to respond to people and spending all your time just trying to sell them, right? So that's just the time. The storage, again, 3-pack blisters just take up a ton of space in comparison to a booster box, not space efficient. People are very particular about these types of items. The paper backing on a lot of them, breaks down with time, or it gets, roughed up, and then the promo doesn't look as good either if it gets a bit crinkled. So there's just a lot of things people don't consider, right? And you could do this with any product. You could do this with collector's chests. I know some people were talking about buying collector's chests. Good job. But have you compared what you bought your collector's chest for in comparison to what, the ETB for that set has gone for it? Have you looked at an annualized ROI, right? So, even taking a good example, which I will show you guys. So we're going to look at the Fusion Strike booster box and the Fusion Strike 3-pack blister. And again, this is the 3-pack blister with the Espeon promo, which is the more expensive promo. It does fairly well in a PSA 10, and we'll compare it to a booster box, right? So I have an annualized ROI calculator. I put in the date November 12th, 2021. That is when Fusion Strike released. And today's current value, I did it 80% of MSRP, right? So I know a lot of people, you probably were able to get booster boxes cheaper than this. Maybe you were able to get 3-pack blisters cheaper than that. But I used $114.98 or 91 rather for the booster box price, and $10.39 for the 3-pack blister price. And I also used a very aggressive number for the 3-pack blister. And I just took the TCG Player booster box. 3-pack blister is apparently $25.68 right now, but I just used the most recent sale of $29.47 to even further my point, right? So even when you manipulate the numbers in your favor, it still doesn't look that great. So the numbers do come out to this, right? When you look at annualized ROI for the booster box, 35.39%, with the very aggressive number on 3-pack blisters, 40.38%, right? So 5% more you're going to be making. And again, it's probably less than that. It might even be less than this number because I used a very aggressive number for the current price. But even if you're making a couple percentage points more in a very rare case where it's a good promo for a good set and stuff like that, it's just not worth your time, guys. Like selling these, offloading these, shipping these, storing these, it's just such a headache compared to something like a booster box. And if you come from traditional investing where you're just investing in stocks and it's all, in essence, imaginary, it's on your computer, you don't have to store anything physical, you can get rid of it in, half a second like that, that's where the overall numbers matter the most. But when you're investing in something like Pokemon, context matters, right? What you have to do to sell a product matters. What you have to do to store a product efficiently and keep it in good shape long term. Again, you got to remember this is a collectible, right? So if you buy a ton of 3-pack blisters and you let the cardboard, kind of deteriorate over time, these bend, they twist, they're not going to be worth top dollar. So this sort of thing matters, and you need to consider this. Same thing with the chests. People just don't want to open chests as much as they want to have a booster box in their collection or an ETB. Like some things sell better than others. So again, at times the 3-pack blisters, they might give you a higher annualized ROI by a couple percentage points. It might look good on paper, but when you break down the numbers, you break down the time it takes to sell these sort of things, it is just not worth it, guys. You're going to be spending so much time, so much money, so much effort, and you're going to realize that even though the raw numbers suggest you're doing better, in reality, you're not going to be doing as well. So that is a really big mistake I see a ton of people making. Just, guys, don't buy 3-pack blisters if you don't have to, right? Like put your money into the good products like booster boxes, like ETBs, booster bundles, things that are space efficient, that sell very well. UPCs even are fine, right? But if you do want to buy 3-pack blisters, and this is the last point I want to make, right? Anything you buy, if you get a good enough deal on it, it makes sense. So if you bought these Unbroken Bonds 3-pack blisters, say a year ago, and you could have got them for $30 or $35, someone was liquidating, they were trying to get rid of them. Again, at any price, or there's always going to be a price rather, that makes sense to do. So if you could get these at $5, just a hypothetical, obviously that makes much more sense than buying a booster box at $600 when you look at it over the year, right? So if you can buy something low enough below MSRP and you do the math and it makes sense, sure, go for it. But if you're buying things at MSRP or you're buying it at the same percentage point of MSRP, a lot of the times it just won't make sense. A lot of the times too, 3-pack blisters also take a lot longer to appreciate. And part of the reason for this is just they're often in stock while other things sell out, right? So Paldea Evolved is sold out on the Pokemon Center, the booster box. The 3-pack blisters are still in stock. Other things like Astral Radiance booster box is sold out. You can still buy the 3-pack blisters. Brilliant Stars, same thing. Booster box is gone, 3-pack blisters still there. So if you want to buy these products, oftentimes it'll make sense to kind of snag them on the Pokemon Center late after the booster box is gone, and kind of when it's at a point where it makes sense based on the price per pack, based on the overall MSRP to current market value, to be picking these up, right? Because at that point it will be a deal. It makes sense. And once it gets to that level, these do normally sell out quite fast because a lot of people are thinking this way. So again, guys, if you're new to the hobby, which I know a lot of people are new to this hobby, and I made these same mistakes, right? Like I bought some check lane blisters, I bought some chests when I started out, I bought some bad sets. Like I made a ton of bad buys that I regret. And knowing what I know now, I would have done a ton of things differently. And again, I don't think it's bad, right? Like I actually have a couple of these 3-pack blisters for Evolving Skies. I have an Unbroken Bonds one. So again, like it's not terrible. It's going to do decently long term. You can see that, right? Like even when you look at the annualized ROI, like it's keeping up with the booster box. But just know that if you're buying cases of these for new sets, or if you're planning to like sell them individually, just know that you're going to be spending a lot of time trying to get rid of these products. And when it comes down to it, you're really just not going to be getting ahead. And you're going to wish that you had that time back, that space back, and all that effort back. So that's just the one thing I wanted to throw out here in this video. If anyone wants to, argue about this and you want to, manipulate data, or you want to do a full comparison of every single set and break it down, do it. But again, like that's just a waste of time as well, because looking at the Fusion Strike ones, and this isn't cherry picking. This is pretty accurate for most sets, right? If it's not Evolving Skies, beating out the 3-pack blister with the booster box, which a lot of sets do. Like it's either really close or the booster box is just slightly doing better. Even the time you find where it makes sense in terms of the raw number, it's still not going to make sense once you factor in everything. So that's what I wanted to say. Sorry that's a bit long-winded. If you guys got something out of this, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video. You guys know what to do. If you are going shopping, eBay, TCG Player, Hobbiesville, I have affiliate links down below. They're free for you guys to use. I get a small kickback, helps out the channel. With that said, hope you guys have a great week. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.